A chilling whisper cuts through the night, "Don't drive. Your husband cut the brakes." A homeless boy, barely visible in the shadows of a Dallas parking lot, risks everything to warn a millionaire heiress of a deadly betrayal. As her world unravels, shocking secrets and unlikely alliances pull you into a heart-pounding race against time. Will she uncover the truth before it's too late, or will she become the next victim of a treacherous plot? Stay with us as this gripping tale of courage, trust, and redemption unfolds. Don't miss a single twist. The night was heavy with silence, broken only by the hum of distant car engines and the rustle of leaves in the chilly Dallas breeze. In a supermarket parking lot, under the harsh glow of fluorescent lights, Noah crouched beside a dumpster, his tattered hoodie pulled tight against the cold. At 15, he was a ghost in the city, unseen, unheard, surviving on scraps and instincts honed by years on the streets. 5 years ago, a hurricane had stolen his parents and home, leaving him to navigate the towering skyscrapers of Dallas alone. The city was supposed to be his salvation, instead, it was a battlefield. Noah's sharp eyes scanned the lot, searching for an opportunity, a discarded meal, a lost wallet, anything to trade for a few dollars. The supermarket had just closed, leaving the lot nearly empty except for a gleaming black SUV parked a few spaces away. Two figures stood beside it, their voices low and tense. Curiosity tugged at Noah as he edged closer, his sneakers silent on the asphalt. "I've told you before," the taller man hissed, his voice cold and commanding. "It needs to look like an accident. No loose ends." The shorter man nodded, his face half-lit by the dim streetlight. "The brakes will fail when she's on the highway. By the time anyone finds out, it'll be too late." Noah's breath caught. His pulse hammered as the words sank in. She. Someone was planning to kill a woman, and they were making it look like an accident. The taller man's voice dripped with menace as he continued, "She drives that car every morning. If you mess this up, you know what happens." The shorter man nodded again, his silence chilling. Noah memorized the SUV's license plate, his mind racing. A metallic clang from the dumpster broke the moment, making him flinch. The taller man's head snapped toward the sound. "Who's there?" he barked. Noah pressed himself against a nearby truck, heart pounding. The shadows were his only shield. "Probably just the wind," the shorter man muttered, but the taller one wasn't convinced. "Check anyway." Footsteps approached, each one louder than the last. Noah's fingers curled into fists, ready to bolt. Just as the steps neared his hiding spot, a car door slammed, and the taller man's voice cut through. "Let's go. We don't have time for this." The SUV roared to life and sped off, leaving Noah trembling in the darkness. His mind churned with the weight of what he'd heard. Brakes. Accident. No loose ends. This wasn't his fight, he'd learned to stay invisible, to survive by keeping his head down. But the memory of his parents' accident, the one no one could prevent, clawed at him. This was different. This was deliberate. He stepped out from the shadows, scanning the lot. A scrap of paper fluttered near the curb, catching his eye. He picked it up, a hastily scribbled address. His gut told him it was no coincidence. Tucking it into his pocket, Noah made a choice. He didn't know who the woman was or why her life was in danger, but he couldn't walk away. Not this time. As he slipped into the night, the Dallas skyline loomed ahead, its lights flickering like distant promises. Noah's heart was set on finding her, delivering his warning, and stopping a tragedy he could prevent. The morning sun bathed Highland Park in golden light, its wide boulevards and sprawling mansions a stark contrast to the gritty streets Noah knew. The address on the note led him here, to a world of wealth he could barely comprehend. Luxury cars gleamed in driveways, and security cameras watched from every corner. Noah tugged his hoodie tighter, feeling like an intruder as he approached the iron gates of the Harper estate. Madeline Harper's mansion was a testament to her empire, built from years of grit in oil fields and boardrooms. Inside, she sat at the edge of her king-sized bed, staring at a photo from her honeymoon with Ethan. 10 years ago, they'd been all smiles, full of love and promise. Now, Ethan's cold distance and cryptic absences left her with a hollow ache. She adjusted her silk robe and headed downstairs, brushing off the unease that had settled in her chest. Her assistant, Caroline, knocked lightly. "Madeline," the mechanic called. "Your car's ready for pickup." "Perfect," Madeline replied, her voice flat. "I'll stop by before lunch." Caroline hesitated. "Is everything okay? You seem distracted." "I'm fine," Madeline said, forcing a smile. "Just tired." But the tension in her marriage gnawed at her. Ethan's meetings felt like lies, and the warmth they'd once shared had faded into something colder. Across town, Ethan Harper sat in a downtown cafe, his espresso untouched as he stared at his phone. His bank account was a disaster, failed real estate deals had left him drowning in debt. Madeline's fortune was his lifeline, but it came with her shadow looming over him. His phone buzzed with a message, "It's done. Make sure she drives tomorrow." Ethan's lips curled into a smirk. He'd rehearsed his role, the grieving widower, the perfect alibi. By week's end, he'd be free, her empire his. Back at the Harper estate, Noah slipped through a service entrance, heart pounding as he dodged security cameras. The gardens were lush, the fountain sparkling, but he had no time to marvel. He needed to find Madeline. Spotting her on the porch, phone in hand, he summoned his courage. "Excuse me," he called, voice cracking. Madeline turned, her eyes narrowing at the sight of disheveled boy. "Who are you? How did you get in here?" Noah raised his hands. "Please, just listen. Your car, it's not safe. Your husband, he's planning something." Her expression hardened. "What are you talking about? Who sent you?" "No one," Noah insisted. "I overheard 2 men last night. They said the brakes were tampered with. I'm trying to help." Madeline's instinct screamed to call security, but something in Noah's desperate tone made her pause. Still, the idea of Ethan plotting against her was absurd. "You need to leave," she snapped. Noah's shoulders slumped, but as he retreated, Madeline felt a flicker of doubt. His words echoed, "Your car's not safe." She shook her head, trying to dismiss it. Ethan wouldn't, would he? She walked to her car, running her fingers along its polished hood. The mechanic had checked it last week, it was fine. But the doubt lingered. Dialing the garage, she said, "Hi, this is Madeline Harper. Can you double-check my brakes?" "Of course, ma'am," the mechanic replied. "Bring it by any time." As she hung up, Noah lingered outside the gate, his resolve hardening. She hadn't listened, but he wouldn't give up. He'd find proof, no matter what it took. Madeline sat at her breakfast table, stirring her coffee absently. The boy's warning gnawed at her, his raw sincerity clashing with her disbelief. Ethan's return broke her thoughts. He was unusually cheerful, carrying a bottle of wine and humming. "You're in a good mood," she remarked, her tone guarded. Ethan grinned. "The market's turning around. Might have closed a big deal." Her lips tightened. She'd heard these promises before, each one emptier than the last. "I had a strange encounter today," she said, watching him closely. "A boy showed up at the gate. Said my car wasn't safe." Ethan's jaw clenched briefly, but he waved it off. "Some punk trying to scam you." "Maybe," she replied, her eyes searching his face. But he seemed desperate. "You're giving this too much thought," Ethan said, his voice tight. "People will say anything for attention." Madeline nodded, but the unease didn't fade. Meanwhile, Noah had made his way to the mechanic shop servicing Madeline's car. Spotting an older mechanic on a smoke break, he approached cautiously. "Hey, excuse me," Noah said. "I need to ask about Mrs. Harper's car. The brakes, did you notice anything wrong?" The mechanic frowned. Why are you asking? I overheard someone talking about tampering with them, Noah admitted. Please, it's important. The man exhaled smoke, his expression softening. I didn't notice anything last time, but I'll check again when she brings it in. If you're serious, tell her yourself. I tried, Noah said bitterly. She didn't believe me. Don't give up, the mechanic urged. If you're right, she needs to know. That afternoon, Madeline drove to the garage, her mind a tangle of doubt and suspicion. The mechanic's call came as she waited in her study. Mrs. Harper, you were right to have us check. The brake lines were tampered with, clean cuts, made to look like wear. You're lucky you didn't drive it. Her blood ran cold. Are you sure? Positive, he replied. I've called the police. They'll want to talk to you. Madeline hung up, her hands trembling. The boy had been right. But why? And who? Ethan's face flashed in her mind, his forced cheer, his evasiveness. She needed answers. Noah returned to the estate, spotting Madeline through her study window. He tapped on the glass, and she opened it, startled. You again, she said, exasperated. I told you to leave. 5 minutes, Noah pleaded. I know I don't look trustworthy, but I'm telling the truth. Reluctantly, she nodded. Noah recounted the parking lot conversation, describing Ethan's voice and the chilling plan. Madeline listened, her heart sinking. When he finished, she whispered, the mechanic confirmed it. The brakes were cut. Noah exhaled, relief mixing with fear. You believe me now? She nodded, her voice breaking. I don't know why Ethan would do this, but, thank you. As police sirens wailed in the distance, Madeline made a choice. She wouldn't let Ethan's betrayal define her. And she wouldn't forget the boy who risked everything to save her. The police investigation moved swiftly. Evidence piled up, text messages, financial records, and a hired mechanic's confession, pointing to Ethan's desperate plan to inherit Madeline's fortune. He was arrested, his empire of lies crumbling. Madeline faced the betrayal with a mix of grief and resolve, determined to rebuild her life on her own terms. Noah, meanwhile, became an unexpected ally. Madeline tracked him down through a local shelter, offering him a place to stay and a chance to start over. At first, he resisted, wary of charity, but her sincerity wore him down. You saved my life, she told him. Let me help you find yours. With Madeline's support, Noah enrolled in school, his sharp mind and resilience shining through. The streets of Dallas, once his battlefield, became a place of possibility. Madeline, too, found strength in their unlikely bond, her trust in others slowly mending. Years later, Noah stood at a college graduation, Madeline cheering from the crowd. Their journey, born in a moment of courage in the shadows, had changed them both. It wasn't just about surviving, it was about choosing to trust, to act, to fight for what was right. From a whispered warning in the dead of night to a bond that defied all odds, Noah and Madeline's story reminds us that courage can come from the most unexpected places. A single act of bravery can unravel lies, rebuild lives, and light the way to a brighter future. What will you do when you hear a warning in the shadows? Like, comment, and subscribe for more stories that inspire, challenge, and remind us of the power of standing up for what's right. Stay tuned for the next incredible tale.